No, we're here to listen. I promise. I promise.
Okay, I think I'm good. I think I can go. Hi everybody. Yeah, my name is Mike Kennebrew. I'm coming at you from Macon, Georgia. Does anybody know where that is? Hands. I know we have Mike B in Atlanta, but you know where Macon is. Home of the Allman Brothers, Otis Redding, Little Richard, I think was born here. James Brown, signed his first record deal here, I think. Yeah, a lot of music history here. I've been here for about 18 years, but I was a preacher's kid, and I'm 46. I was born in 1977, and I was born in Ocala, Florida. And we moved around a lot. I'd say just about every year we moved. My dad was in school at first, getting like a master's degree, and then getting a doctorate, PhD, and then after that he started preaching at these little churches. And so it was me and my two little brothers and my mom and dad, and they were Southern Baptist. I bet you either were, if you weren't raised in it, I bet you have an idea of what Southern Baptist childhood is like. And mine was some of the good and some of the bad. But I will say alcohol was not in the house. My parents they weren't the kind to say that it was wrong, but they would, the subject would come up. um, yeah, everybody snuck it, I think even as a kid, I knew that like that people were doing it and they were hiding it because you'd get shamed for doing it. And then when you're a kid and you've been sort of led to believe that, this is not good, and then you read these verses about Jesus turning water into wine or things like that. And man, my dad had an answer for all those, that oh that was non-alcohol, that was grape juice and stuff. But it definitely it gave me an impression about it that it was on the long, long, long list of things that a preacher's kid shouldn't be doing. And I wasn't a good kid. So all the things on that list, and drinking and smoking and girls and sneaking out and lying and acting up and all of those things I was doing at a young age. I didn't start drinking until a little bit later, though. It was high school. We moved around a lot is kind of what I want to tell you, because I think that's a big part of my story, is that we moved around a ton, and the only constant that I had throughout my life was the family that was moving around, the me, my mom, my dad, my two brothers. And I I started getting in trouble in high school. We moved to Conyers, Georgia, right before ninth grade, and I started getting in trouble pretty much immediately. I didn't have this thing inside of me that wanted to do a lot of things that were bad. I didn't have that. Some people are just rebels. I'm not really a rebel, I don't think. I just wanted to be liked. And being someone who moved around so much, I never really felt very solid on my feet. I felt like I was always the new kid, always trying to meet people and make friends and make them quick. So I was pretty insecure. Um, Family didn't have a lot of money. I wasn't like super smart or big athlete or anything that would kind of give me an immediate in with people. I didn't come from a family that everyone knew. And so I was looking for anything to make me feel um, or make people like me. And so that was most of my acting out, was not because I really wanted to do anything wrong. If I thought I could have gotten people to like me and by just being a good guy, then I probably would have done that. But I went the other way. So I remember the first time I drank was in the 10th grade. It was a spend the night thing with some friends. It was the first time I drank, and it was the night I lost my virginity. And uh, just I I liked it. Um, I think I liked it, but I wasn't immediately hooked on it. I had these beers. I felt this feeling that I had never felt before, and maybe that feeling scared me a little because I remember not really running back to when can I do this again, which is sort of my personality. Is if something is really good, I'm like, let's do it every day until forever, you know? And I think maybe that feeling scared me a little bit. And so I don't remember running back to do it. Um, and my kind of troubles caught up with me in 10th grade, and I got expelled from school. And then I got sent away from home. I had been arrested and went to court. And when I went to court, the judge basically asked my mom and dad if they could control me, and they said no, which I felt like was them kind of selling me up the river. When they said no, he said, "Well, then we're going to send you someplace that can control you." And so from 10th grade until middle of 11th grade, I went and lived in a children's home. And it was there I sort of got on the straight and narrow. I had pretty much imploded my life with all the lies and all the the things that I was doing to hurt my mom, my dad. I was setting a terrible example for my little brothers, and alcohol really wasn't a part of it. It was mostly just hanging out with the wrong people and sneaking out and stealing things and doing just stupid teenager stuff. And but at the children's home, I kind of got on the straight and narrow. I came back for my senior year of high school, and I was like the good guy. You know, I had been reformed, and I tried to live up to that. Um, and so I didn't drink. 18, 19, 20, turned 21. I didn't drink. Um, I would have like pretty spirited conversations with people who did and tell them, you know, it wasn't right. I was real conservative back then, and I would sort of lean into my religious upbringing and say, you know, it's not necessarily a sin, but you shouldn't do it. And 21st birthday, I remember I was at a concert in Little Five Points at the Variety Playhouse. I mean, great place, concert, and great place to celebrate your 21st birthday and have some drinks. And I didn't drink. So I remember when I started, we had some friends. Uh, I actually went over to a friend's house, and he was a professional tennis player, and I was a musician, and it was sort of like we were kind of both chasing our dreams. And he had me over to his house in north of Atlanta, and he found out I didn't drink, and he said, "Well, why don't you drink?" And by then, I just didn't really know why I didn't. I don't know. I don't think I like it. And he said, let's, you go to social situations, you're going to need to have stuff. You're going to need to you have a drink in your hand, know what you like. When they say, what can I get you? You want to have an answer. He was trying to teach me how to fit in kind of cool guy society, I guess. And so he got into his liquor cabinet and brought down all, the vodka and the gin and the tequila and the club soda or the tonic and beer. And he was like, and we just sort of taste this. Tell me what you think. Taste it. All right. And here now, if you order this, they're going to think you're like a frat guy. If you ordered this, you could have like a vodka tonic anywhere that's classy. You could. And he was kind of taking me through it. And I kind of looked up to him. He was, um, he was friends with a lot of like world famous people, and I thought he was really cool, and yet he was a good guy also. And so I thought, maybe I'll give this thing a try. And then like the next weekend we had friends coming over. I had just gotten married, and had friends come over to see our house, and I knew that they like to have beer. And I asked, like, what kind of stuff do you like in the house? Or look, like, what kind of beers do you like? And so I went to the fridge, and I had a friend on the phone with me, kind of telling me, like, all right, look to the left, and here's where you find this and that. Because again, I just didn't know anything about anything. And so I bought all these, some IPAs and some Newcastles and some whatever just to have in the fridge so that we could be hosts for these people who, we knew that they like to have drinks with dinner. And so I had some then. And so by then I'm about 24 years old, 25 years old, and we drink together with our friends. Um, but it's not really got a hold on me. And then I think we can just kind of fast forward a really long time where it went from with friends to with dinner to when you're going out to dinner. And then I did that switch, sort of did flip for me, that was like, this feels great. I want to always feel great. And I realized like, gosh, when I've had a really bad day and I didn't know how to really solve that, pouring a drink would help. And I had been sort of liberated from this mindset that it was, sinful in God's eyes, so I didn't feel any shame about it. And I just took that, well, then if it's right, if it's not wrong, then it's not wrong. So do it, and don't apologize. And so I began to drink like every day, and I drank a lot. And so we're married. My wife, she's one of those that she'll have a drink with a glass of wine with dinner. Um, I was always like, come on, let's go. When I get together with my friends, we were trying to, let's another round. How fast can we all get there to where we're all feeling good? And she's one of those ones that's like, no, I'm starting to feel it, like I'm getting a little, and in my mind, that was like, yeah, I mean, this is where this is where we're trying to get, keep going. And she just has always had this like amazing self-control, and it's never been an issue for her. So through my late 20s, through my 30s, we had kids, Turner and Emma. Emma was born 14 years ago, and Turner was born 12 years ago, and I was drinking. I'd be bringing um, drinks to anything I could get away with. I'd have it in the car. I would have it at if I didn't want to go to a, a softball game, or it was going to be boring. I'd tell myself it was going to be boring. That's the kind of messed up thing about it, is that you could be watching your kid who's not going to be that size very long, and you're telling yourself that you need a drink to make it bearable. And so my senses were dulled throughout um, a lot of those years and a lot of those things, because I would feel like I needed that to make it bearable is probably an understatement, but I mean an overstatement. But I would need it with me, and so I would have it in the car. I would have it at the functions, um, and I was diminished. I thought I was a load of fun, I thought I was it leveled me up, but looking back, I was just sort of diminished. And so 3 years ago, it just got more and more. I would lay on my bed at night, and I'm sure some of you guys did this. You start thinking like, how many did I have? I you start counting, and you can't believe how high you get. As soon as the last thing I had to do was done for that day, whether that thing, I'm a musician. Um, I don't keep regular hours. I don't see people regular where I have to work until 5 o'clock and then I get off and then I could start drinking. As soon as I knew that I didn't have to do anything huge or important or something, I was done. As soon as I could start, I started. And so I'd lay in bed at night and go, okay, well, I made plus one, two, three, and I was drinking like vodka soda with limes. And I could kind of tell how many drinks I would get out of a lime because I'm cutting up the lime and go, well, that's four drinks and that's four drinks. And I would get 10, 11, 12. Start feeling bad every day. You felt bad the next day. It was kind of this fog, but I'd get up, go work out, go run. That just became a part of it though. So anyway, where I quit. It was Halloween. This Halloween will be 3 years. Um, I had been drinking during the day, and I knew I was driving the kids and some friends' kids around for trick or treating, and so I kind of stopped for a couple hours. I remember making myself a big cup of coffee and driving around. There's another dad in the car with me while we were kind of driving around, following the kids. I can remember wondering if he smelled it on me. I'm sure some of you guys can remember that constant worry of if your scent is going to give you away. But we did the trick-or-treating thing. I was mostly sobering up, and I got back home, and you got back home at like 9 o'clock. And I was like, well, the night is young and I'm done, mission accomplished. So I started making another drink and I'm drinking that. Maybe had another, I don't know how many I had. I was beyond counting at that point. And my friend calls me. I'm an ordained minister, and I I had married him and his wife about 9 months before, and he called me and he said, "Can you come over?" We had a big blow up, and she left, went to her parents' house, and I think she might be leaving me. I think it might be over. And I was like, "Yeah, And of course, I shouldn't have been getting on the road. Um, it should have occurred to me how bad of shape I was in, but it didn't. So much so that even on the way, I stopped at the country club that we were like newly members of, and that gives out roadies as though they're giving you a to-go water. And took one for me and one for him, and showed up at his doorstep in 15 minutes. Hey, man, I'm here to help. I mean, what a terrible example of a man, of a person of principles, of character. Just so I get there and I remember sitting the night with him, stay for hours and listen to him and you're doing that whole thing that you do of like, can he tell that I'm drunk, or that I'm not sober? Um, and I'm trying to, he's looking at me. I'm a few years older than him, and he's looking at me, he's looked up to me for years, and he's looking at me for like hope and advice, and I'm saying stuff, but you're going, man, this is, am I making sense? Am I helping? I'm not 100% here. So I stayed as long as I stayed, and I talked to him and did the best I could. I went home that night, and I woke up the next morning. I felt terrible, physically terrible, hungover, and it was one of those like, okay, not today. I can't drink. Um, and I never took days off. It was only if I was just so sick. Um, so I didn't drink that day, and I felt terrible morally just because here my friend needed me, and I couldn't show up for him, and it added to the guilt that this was a guy that looked up to me, and I knew that the way that I had been um, didn't deserve anybody looking up to me. So I didn't drink that day. The next day. I didn't drink either. And I still felt bad. It wasn't even a righteous moment for me. I just felt terrible. And then the third day, I took note. I mean, here has gone 2 days that I haven't had a drink. And now we're getting closer to Friday. And so I thought, I'm just going to try and make it to Friday. And then I'll drink on the weekend. And Friday came, and the best I can remember by that time, I was starting to sort of think it wasn't about feeling bad anymore. It was about thinking, I was looking in the rearview mirror and seeing what a grip this had on me and how out of control I was. And I thought, if I start drinking again, if I have a drink, because I told myself, I'll drink on Friday. I'm going to drink this weekend. It's going to be fine. That's my goal. I will have reached the goal and I will have the drink. And nobody around me was saying, "Hey, you need to quit." That's one thing that I never had. I never had people sitting me down. I hid it really well, or I'm not the easiest person to confront. I don't know what it was, but but by the time Friday hit, I was like, I don't think I need to do this, because if I do it, I'm out of control, and if I have another drink, I'm going to be out of control again. I've got something going right now. I'm 3 days, 4 days, whatever. I need to keep this thing going while I try to figure out what the heck is going on. And so I went through the weekend, made it to 7 days, and just kept going. And I never took the alcohol out of the house. Everything that I owned is still in the house. Um, and it's, I guess, November 1st will be 3 years. Um, a few months into that, I wrote a song about it. Um, and one of the things I said was, I guess I'm drinking more than most. At least that's what she told me. That was my wife. She was the only one who dared to tell me. Uh, every time Lent would come around, I don't know if any of you guys are church people or you know what Lent is. It's when all your like Methodist and Presbyterian and friends give up something from Ash Wednesday until Easter. They'll give up like carbs, if they want to get skinny, or they'll give up, you know, social media, or give up. A lot of people give up alcohol, and Lindsay would always be like, "Maybe, yeah, you think maybe you should give up?" And I would kind of look at her, okay, all right, and so anyway, the song went, I guess I'm drinking more than most. At least that's what she told me. I started reaching for it anytime I was anxious or lonely. When I think back on how it went out of control, it was the thing I reached for anytime I felt uncomfortable or lonely. Um, and then it said, these days, that's all I feel unless I've got one in my hand. And when it's coursing through my veins, it makes me less than what I am. And that's sort of my testimony in a nutshell of just looking and going, I was going for this to help me, but it was diminishing me. And my kids are growing up. I am getting older. I have a lot of people who look up to me and who need me to be at my best, and I'm wasting it. Um, so I just kept going day after day after day. It was surprisingly easier than I thought it would be. And I hope that doesn't sound bad to anyone who is fighting tooth and nail every single day. But for the first few weeks, the first few months, I would, you walk into the place that you would always go. Well, I had, a few bars that I always go, and they see you when they see you walk in the door, they start making your drink. And so it was a little bit, I got to be like, hold on. And they look at you like, what? And I go, I'm not drinking right now. That's what I would say. I'm not drinking right now. And then slowly it became, I don't think I drink anymore. And that's where I am now, is that I don't drink anymore. And it hasn't been a big test for me. There is the biggest test is what to do with that anxiousness that you feel in the middle of the day when you used to reach for a drink to dull that and to save you from that. All of a sudden, you got to save yourself. I could be real spiritual and say you got to turn to God and He'll save you. I don't know if you guys are God, Jesus people or not, but uh, I do believe that that's where I turn. Um, but even then, you still got to do it. You got to power through that awkwardness. That there's a nervousness when you feel like I want it, I need it. I'm a full-fledged adult. I have the facilities and abilities to go get it right now, and to go, I'm not going to do that. It's that's been the toughest. Oddly enough, we've had this scheduled for a few weeks, and I've been really excited to come on here and talk to you guys. I don't know if I'm making any sense or doing any good, but this past week I was in I was in Turks and Caicos with my family. And family vacations, it was it was on for drinking, and holidays, like it was going to be all Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day, and you're going to be with the in-laws and everyone's in your house and everyone drinks. So it was just like a big drink-a-thon. And this past one, we went to Mexico, we went to Hawaii. We've done a lot of some vacations since I quit, and it's been relatively not hard for me. But I remember there was a snorkeling excursion on this trip, and they said something in the sign up about, if you get seasick, you probably shouldn't sign up for this. And I do kind of get like sick to my stomach. And so I didn't sign up. And so Lindsay and Turner and Emma left me at an all-inclusive place. And so it was one of those beaches, sandals, resorts, and all week long I had been watching people who had paid their money to go to an all-inclusive, and they were, like gonna take advantage of it. And here I had taken advantage of the soft serve ice cream. That's about like as big as I had gone. and I wasn't having the best time. I had found out the night before that my favorite aunt had died, and so I was really sad. It was sudden, and then I was gone, and I'm sorry, I was they were gone, and I was at this all-inclusive place, and I was like, I could do this. I could do this right now, and and I could even be honest about it and say, you know what, I'm going to give it a try again. Um, and nobody could say anything to me. They could, but I don't think anybody would. If I could, I'm a good actor. I could just say, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it responsibly. I'm going to, especially when the people I'd be telling it to drink also. So they're not going to say I can't do it, but I didn't. And here's why. Um, because that thing that I knew about 2 days after I quit, 2 days after my last drink, that when Friday came and I had said, I'll go ahead and have this drink. And then I thought, you know what? I can't have this drink because there's something like really wrong with my relationship with alcohol. And if I have this drink, it will be game on all over again. And that has not changed one iota in 3 years. Um, the thought, it's the same as it was on that Friday in Turks and Caicos a few months ago when I was in Scotland. I'm in a different country. Nobody knows me. I'm all alone. I could do this. I could come back to the States, never tell anyone. But I just know there's something fundamentally wrong with me when it comes to that, and I just can't do it. So more power to everyone who can, and but as for me, I can't do it. Last thing, I've been blathering on. I'm sorry, but this past year when we had the new year, I I did something online that I had been meaning to do for a few months because when I started getting to, like a week without it, for me, a week without alcohol was like, might as well have been a million years. And I started noticing things every day. Uh, I was like, oh, like Turner asked me to come upstairs and read with him. And I didn't make up a reason not to go. I just ran upstairs and read with him because I had the energy to do it because I wasn't sitting there sinking into the recliner having drink after drink after drink. Or Emma wanted to toss the softball and I actually did it. Or I was, at the church and these kids ran up to me and I did not, I had that like, oh, do they smell alcohol? And then I remembered I haven't had anything to drink. I don't have to worry about it. So there are all these things that I was realizing as I was kind of getting away from it, and I made a note in here, and I just called it "Sobriety Is," and I did it for 31 days, and I just wrote down something that I noticed each day. It was something I guess I was afraid that if I ever want to go back to it, if I ever think that the life of drinking is better than the life of not drinking, then I'm going to look at my own words here and see what I would be giving up to go back to alcohol. And so I'm not going to read it all to you, don't worry. I just want to see if I still have it. Yeah. So there it is. Um, Started it, yeah, February the 8th. But no, that can't be right. Anyway, I think that's when I updated it. But anyway, uh, so in January of this year, I thought maybe someone else would benefit from that. Maybe someone else would benefit from hearing those things. And every day I got on Instagram and and started putting those videos out. And sobriety is day one was sobriety is not dying for something worthless. Sobriety is day two was reading with Turner. Day three was playing football, basketball with Emma. These were real things that happened that I realized wouldn't have happened if I had been drinking that day. Things that I probably had a ton of chances to do, and I passed up on them. Day four was driving home without the risk of going to jail, which did happen one night where I got pulled over coming back from a show and spent the night in the DeKalb County Jail, Atlanta, Mike. Um, and anyway, that didn't stop me. I went right back to drinking. But sobriety is. I'll probably do it again this year. I had a good time um, putting those out there and dropping them on to random people who are just sitting on their phones trying to go to the bathroom. Um, but anyway, okay, I think that's it. We open it up.